Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Invincible CEO YouTube channel. And we are here live tonight with a wonderful, never before training anywhere, not any teacher that I could find. This is something that came to me in a meditation about a month ago. I'm so excited to share. So, as you're here, please let us know, put your name in the chat, let us know where you're coming from. If you have any questions tonight, please also put them in the comment section below. If I can't get to them on screen, I will get to them after the live is done. So excited. This is hidden in plain sight. And especially if you're familiar with the chakras, this is a roadmap for manifestation. And this is going to be mind-blowing stuff here tonight. So I would highly recommend, if you have a notebook, you want to take some really good notes. I will be, after this is done, now I'm not quite sure if this is going to be one really long video because there's quite a bit of information, or if I'll do the first half tonight and then follow up on Wednesday night and do the second half with our normal 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time Wednesday night live. But either way, we're going to get all the information out to you. So please let me know that you're here. You can go into the live chat. I can see that while we're live streaming. But also, again, if you have any questions, and your questions help a whole lot where I can clarify and simplify. So please do that. While we're waiting some other people to join, I see we have quite a group here already. My name is Dede. I am the Invincible CEO. I am the last most exciting manifestation coach you will ever need. Not that you need a coach, but that's what I'm here to do. And I have dedicated my life to help people make better choices, being so present in the now moments that your life begins to turn around very, very quickly. So I have shared before that I am a trained interrogator, financial fraud investigator. I'm a profiler, an expert of the subconscious mind. I've been doing that for over 30 years. And what I realized is that the people that I was investigating and interrogating weren't necessarily criminals. They were just people who made poor choices in the now moment. And it was either because of necessity or opportunity, or sometimes a hybrid of both. But what you may or may not know is that I'm also a certified personal trainer, certified nutritionist. So if you've seen the pictures in the community tab, I did put a post of my physical body transformation. But also what I'm going to share with you tonight that I probably don't say as often is that I am a 9th degree Reiki Grand Master. There's about 50 of us in the world. So I do Reiki very, very differently than other Reiki masters. So being a grandmaster, everything I do, Reiki is infused in, even these lives, all of my coaching, all of my courses, because I want you to learn how to center in the energy. I want you to learn how to use the energy. And when we're talking about chakras tonight, we're going to be talking about energy portals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through some beautiful ways of how to center yourself and not only understand this from the mind concept. So here's some promises that I want you to do in any of the videos that you watch here or any of the training that you watch here. Is one, make a promise that this isn't just about intellectually gathering more information or new information, because it is fun to the mind. The mind loves to reawaken. I'm going to say you've never learned anything in your life. You're only remembering what you already know that's been dormant. So everything that isn't activated right now, right? Because there's activate, align, and anchor. So if it's not activated, it's just dormant. And there's a lot that's dormant. So one of the things I want to share, I'm going to give a little bit of foundational information. And again, I see that you guys are here. So please let me know who's here so I can talk to you other than just talking to a screen. I love the interaction with you guys. So just tell me who's here, where are you viewing from, and what are you hoping to get out of this today that you're here with this, the hidden roadmap, hidden in plain sight within the chakras for instant manifestation. So getting back into the centering and understanding how this energy works, you are operating all times on 3 planes of existence: the energetic plane, the mental plane, and the physical plane. Now, I know other teachers and other guides may share it differently, and their way of sharing it is perfect in their world. But here's a way that I've simplified it for myself, and I use it for all my clients to keep it nice and simple. So I want you to imagine that you are in a bubble or a snow globe. Either one is fine. And I like to use the analogy of Charlie Brown, Pigpen from Charlie Brown. He walks around in his little dust cloud. He takes his universe wherever he goes. So you're taking your bubble wherever you go. And if you think of it, you're like this little character in a video game, and you have your bubble around you. Now, the really nice thing about your bubble is you packed your bags for this lifetime. Everything you need is in that bubble, but it's in the 3 different states of energetic, mental, or physical. So if everything's 100% in that bubble, and you're the only person that can access and activate and interact with anything in the bubble, I'm going to tell you 5% has already physically manifested in your bubble. And then 15% is mentally activated. It's what are you focusing on, right? What do you have going on in the cars driving by, auditioning for your attention in your mind? And then the 80% is dormant. It's there. It's all possibilities, all potentiality. So what we do is when we start to give mental energy we take it off of the warehouse shelf. It's on the shelf in your warehouse, in your bubble. So the moment that I say to you, think of a pink elephant, right away you thought of a pink elephant. It was dormant. It was on the shelf in the warehouse, and now it's mentally activated. And the more focus mentally we give a pink elephant, it will then more likely turn into physical reality. It'll start to manifest into the 5% versus all the other things that are dormant. So in order for you to bring that into the mental 15%, something else that hasn't been getting energy now goes back into the dormant shelf. Do you understand? Hey, Kervin, how are you? Do you understand? Please put I understand in there, because it's going to be really, really important that these 3 levels, these 3 planes of existence are simultaneous. Now, for most people, you're focused on the physical reality after it's been pushed out. And then you spend a lot of time in the mental, giving it as much reality or giving it much weight as the physical reality. So what we're going to do, we're going to use that to your benefit while we talk about these chakras. And what I really want you to do now is I want to get you focused within your body. And as a Reiki Grandmaster, every morning when I first wake up and every evening before I go to bed, I activate the energy. And anyone who is in the Invincible CEO environment, whether you're working with me as a client, whether you're here visiting on the YouTube channel, can tap into this energy. And I'm going to show you how to activate it within you right now. So while we're here, I want you can either lay down, you can sit, but I want you to be able to relax whichever you're doing. And I want you to be able to have a nice soft focus. We're going to keep the eyes open. And when you do this, you can do this as you go to bed at night. You can do it first thing in the morning, because it's going to really get your energy going. And if you tell me you want $100,000 and I'm your coach, it's already done. I'm like your subconscious mind. It's already done. Don't know how it's going to show up, but it's already done. So if you find yourself upset, if you find yourself angry, frustrated, you feel stuck, then activate this energy. And you can do it so many different times, so that when I coach you, I have you doing it hour on the hour. But I'm going to walk you through this beautiful process. Before we do that, I want to ask you to take a deep breath. Your normal way of taking a deep breath where you are. Take a deep breath. How present were you with that deep breath? On a scale from 1 to 10, where 1 is not very present at all, or 10 is very, very present, where would you put yourself? And you can put that in live chat, because most people will probably say they were probably about a 7 or 8, because once you actually focus on breathing deeper, you can say that probably your normal breathing is a 1 or 2. And now that you were asked to breathe deep, it goes up to about a 7 or 8. But hey, Bridget, how are you? Good, 6. I want you to really see now the difference of going and being very present. So what we're going to do to activate this energy, and you can do this at any time, it's very, very simple. We're going to do it in 3 deep breaths. I'm going to walk you through how to do the deep breaths. And then after we're done that 3rd breath, you're going to go snap, snap, snap. That activates this Reiki energy, and it can shut your monkey mind down immediately. It can energize you if you are feeling sluggish. It can kind of calm you down if you're over activated. It can get you from feeling stuck to unstuck like that. Calm the angry, enhance the joy, whatever you needed to do. It is so intuitive that you don't even have to ask of it. Now, after it's activated, if it becomes too much for you, you're just going to take your hands and tap, tap, tap your heart chakra, and that will help calm it down. But at any time, you can deactivate it by saying, deactivate now. And that way it's deactivated. My Reiki energy will never go into a person's consciousness without your inviting it in. So you don't have to worry about me zapping you without your permission. And at any time you no longer want it, deactivate now, we'll deactivate it. So it's really powerful and you're going to start to feel this. Okay. So now we're going to take these 3 deep breaths and you're going to breathe in through the nose. We're going to hold it for about 3 seconds and then we're going to breathe out. And when you're breathing out through the mouth, you're going to make a noise. And the noise is so important. I know so many people get embarrassed about making the noise, but you're going to breathe out like you're fogging up a glass or a mirror. So I'm going to demonstrate one. It's going to go like this. And you're going to breathe out and you're going to breathe all the way out. And then when you think there's no more breath to breathe out, I want you to pull in your stomach and push out all the little bit of air that's left there. So what's going to happen is I want you to really focus on the air coming in through the nostril because it's going to activate not only the throat chakra, but it's going to go up through the third eye. It's going to go through the crown, come back down. When we hold it for that 3 seconds, it's going to activate the heart chakra. And then when we're breathing out, we're pushing it down to the lower chakras. And that's why at the very end of the breath, and each breath, we're going to do that push out, that really like sucking in the gut and pushing out whatever air is left, because you're going to feel the activation all the way through the 7 chakras. And that's what we're going to focus on today. And then as soon as we're done that third breath, we're going to snap, 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 and then it's activated. Okay. So let's do this together. And what you're going to notice is my breath out is going to be quite long. Don't worry if you can't breathe out as long. Just each breath that you take in, try to take in more air. Feel it coming through the nostrils. I want you to feel how much deeper present you are than the one that you just took. And then as you're pushing it out, I want you to feel it. I want you to hear it. I want you to bring as much sensory perception to it. Hear, feel, taste, touch, smell, the whole 9 yards. Okay. All right. So get yourself nice and loose. You're going to look straight ahead with a very soft gaze. And I always say, kind of focus on something. You don't have to look at the screen. If you want to turn away and look something else, I'm going to walk you through it. Okay. But what I'm really going to try to do is not talk during it because I just explained what we're going to do so that we can really stay focused on the breath. All right. So let's begin. We're going to start breathing in through the nose for breath 1. Okay, we're activated. Awesome. 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 All right. So now I also want to bring to your attention as we talk about chakras. And I want you to make some promises to yourself tonight with the chakras. So this is how I see anything that I do, anything that I'm about to do, I start with the heart chakra. Now, a lot of Reiki grandmasters or even Reiki masters will either start with the crown or the root chakra. And I'm right to the heart kind of person. It's all heart. And when we activate the chakras, all of them are activating at once. So it's not like it's it's starting at the bottom and you have to push it all the way up or you have to push it all the way down. We're going to let all of that stuff go. If that's what the other teachers are teaching, that's how they do their thing. That works in their world. But in this, it's everything everywhere all at once. If we're going to activate one, we're activating them all. So we're going to start with the heart because I'm going to explain tonight that the heart chakra is the union. It's the union place between the lower chakras, the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus. And I'm going to say that the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus are for the 3D character, the physical you that has manifested into the 5%. Your physical body is part of the 5%. They are the guideline for the outer me, right? The physical 3D me, the character. So the 3D you, you'll hear me call it either a character, you'll hear me call it the 3D you, the character, or the physical you, right? So that's what you're looking at right now. The lower chakras are the roadmap for that version of you. The upper chakras, the throat, the third eye, and the crown, are for the subconscious. So whether I say upper chakras, subconscious, higher self, or inner me, they're all interchangeable the same way too. And the inner me, as I introduced in one of my other videos the other day, is the real me. The subconscious is the real me. So if we're going to believe that we have an inner me and an outer me, if we have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind, if we're going to bring anything into our reality, it must serve us because we don't need it. We don't need any story. We already exist without a story. If we just sat here for a half hour with no thought and just meditated, or just sat here as resting as awareness, we don't need a story. We are life itself. None of this exists without the consciousness of you. So if I'm life itself and you're life itself and I'm existence and all of this is here just for me, then anything I bring into my environment must serve me because I'm peaceful. I'm at ground zero. Heart chakra is total peacefulness. It's total ground zero. It's total neutrality in the sense that there's no good or bad. There just is. There's no up or down. There just is. There's no right or wrong. There just is. And that's what the isness is. So that anything that I do and I add into should enhance what is, not make it lack, not make it a deficit. So let me explain what I mean by that. And this is a little pet peeve that I have about any kind of system, but especially the chakra system, because here are these 7 beautiful wheels of energy that align with the rainbow, that align with do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do in music, with align so beautifully. And we bring in the story of chakras, the root chakra and the sacral and all of the chakras, and then we cause blocks. That blows my mind. So here's this thing to explore. So let's see how it limits us. That makes no sense. You do not have blocked chakras. Chakra energy is not blocked. It is a mental construct that says there's a block, but there's not, because we're always arguing for limitations and we're always making this harder than it has to be when we believe something. So the promise I want you to make to yourself is that if you're going to use the chakra system, get rid of the BS of blocked. Get rid of the BS that it's not moving. Get rid of it all, because guess what? It's all your creation, unless that floats your boat. And this video is probably not for you, because if I'm going to activate something, I'm not going to destroy the thing that I'm activating, that there was peace before it came in. And this is the analogy I use. If you're making chakras blocked, it would be like this in real life. You finally get your dream car. You go and you buy your dream car. And not only is it your dream car because you just love the ride and you love how you look at it, but the freedom that it brings, that you can travel, whether you're food shopping or you're going visiting a friend or you're going to work or visiting a client, and you get this dream car that, you know, prior to having it, you were fine without it. You existed that long without it, but now you got it. You bring it home and then you slash your tires. You wouldn't do that. So when you're bringing chakras into your world and then you're saying they're blocked, it's like slashing the tires of your dream car. Why would you do that? You wouldn't do that in real life. So that's why we're going to let that go. And if you agree, put that in the comment section below. Okay. So now we're going to come in through the heart, and by doing the breathing, we've kind of zeroed everything out. I want you to let go of all your stories. Let them all go. Let your name go. Let your relationships go. Let your bank account go. Let it all go. You're just a character right now. And we're using the chakras to expand us, to make us expand into revealing things about ourselves, because we are so powerful. And the more that we play with this, the more powerful we become. So the reason why I start at the heart is because I'm mimicking how this reality operates. And when you were conceived at roughly 5 weeks while you were in your mother's belly, your heart started to beat. You were heart centered from the very beginning. Your brain hasn't even begun to develop yet. And it takes about 6 months in utero for the brain to be at least fully developed as much as it can be for a baby to begin to stand a chance if it was born prematurely. But the heart has been beating, and that's your subconscious, because right now you're not consciously beating your heart. So this beautiful energy that created you, that has been beating your heart from the moment that it started beating, and it has not stopped. And if your subconscious mind, inner me, didn't want you here anymore, you'd be gone. So you can't consciously outwit that. So where we're going to start is the heart chakra. And we're just going to see, and all you got to do is just put your hands there where your heart is. I give it a little push one time, and I just imagine all of the lights lighting up. They're all activated. They were activated before you were aware they were activated, and they were spinning and they were working perfectly the way that they're supposed to. But now, just by you touching your heart, you're aware, you're more aware of their activation than you were. Because just like your heart's beating when you're not aware of it, and it's beating even when you are aware of it, chakras work the same way. So now let's talk about the root chakra and what it's like living in a root chakra world. Now, I love the fact we're going to use the colors as they are, right? Root chakra is red, and we're going to call that the red world. And in the root chakra red world, kind of go back and forth between the two of those, it's all about survival. All the actions are based on survival mode. It's based on belonging. It's based on surviving. So you need shelter, you need food, you need money, right? Whatever the story is, because the story, money didn't exist all the time humans been around, but you can see how the consciousness evolves. If at one point we were just trading food or trading skills, and then we turned into currency, and we can kind of see how the expansion happens with consciousness and how it's continuing to expand and expand and expand. This is all you. You are everything. But when you're in your root chakra red world, everything you do, the motivation behind it is about survival. Finding a mate is about survival. It's about safety. It's about feeling and belonging. It's about community that way. And the word for the root chakra, the words is I am. So it's when you first learn that you exist. Now, I know Descartes says, I think, therefore I am. But I'm going to say I am, therefore I think. The I am comes first. The I am is unconditioned consciousness. It is consciousness realizing it's conscious in a world, in a body. And anything that comes after I am conditions the consciousness. So if I just say I am, I am. But if I say I am happy, now I've conditioned the world that I'm going to interact with happy. But because root chakra is about survival, then I'm going to feel happy as I'm surviving. Hey, Tiffany, how are you? Amarillo, Texas. Wonderful. Hey, Bridget, where are you from? And Kervin, where are you from? Okay. So now we're in the survival mode down here, right? And that's what the driving energy of consciousness is at that level. And I'm going to call this the human level. This is the basic human toolkit of manifestation, which is through repetition. Repetition is the master manifester at the root chakra level. And I'm going to call it the default manifestation world. That regardless of what it is that you do, that if you repeat it enough, you're going to get some results. That's how we learned in school, how you learned your multiplication tables, how you learned to spell words, when you go to the gym, if you want to get in shape, you do reps, you do exercises, and you go and you do the same ones over and over and over, right? Every day, there's a lot of repetition for survival. You eat so many meals each day. You eliminate waste certain ways every day. And every day you have patterns. So the root chakra is all about the patterns. And as an investigator, that is what I'm looking for. So we have Downingtown, PA, we have Ohio, wonderful. Okay, so we're looking for patterns. And if you were to look at yourself for a day, or even you can do this and you can look at someone in your life, you'll notice their patterns. When you get up in the morning, you most likely put the same foot down every morning. You want to break the pattern, put the other foot down or get off at the other side of the bed. Or if you get out of bed and you walk right into the bathroom, then don't do that. Go over to the window and look out the window. You broke the pattern. So root chakra is all about patterns and predictability. But ultimately, the goals for the root chakra is manifestation through repetition. So at the very least, this is where you can become a cooperative component. Meaning, and you hear Abraham Hicks, if you've ever listened to any of their teachings, they talk about becoming a cooperative component. They say the path of least resistance, but I like to call it the path of most allowance, because I always want to use words that I want expanded in my reality, right? Because allowance and resistance, it's the same coin, just two different sides. And again, we don't really have to get too bogged down in words because it's what's implied. So if what's implied is allowance, then I might as well just say allowance, because for me, allowance brings a very positive thing, because when I was a kid, I got an allowance. Okay, so now through repetitions, and this will be the techniques of affirmations. Now, as I've said before, no technique causes anything. No repetition causes anything. But it keeps the conscious mind so busy that when you shift the reality, it looks like the repetition causes the outcome, but it doesn't. Because all you're ever doing at the root chakra level is convincing yourself, because there's only you in your bubble. So let me give you an example of what I mean by bubble. So let's say you're sitting right across from me in person right now, and I'm here sitting here and I'm in my bubble and I have a water bottle, and you see that I have a water bottle and you ask me, do I have an extra one for you? And I just so happen to have another one here, right? So let's just say for the demonstration purpose, this is the water bottle I'm going to give you. Okay, so this is an unopened water bottle. And as I go to hand it to you, it goes to the edge of my bubble and it's visible in my bubble, but you don't have one visible. It's invisible in your bubble. But it looks like I'm handing you this water bottle, but really, as I hand it to you, it becomes invisible in my bubble and visible in yours. So when I teach an in-person class, and let's say there's 10 people in the class, and I say, how many water bottles am I holding? So if there's 10 students and me, how many water bottles am I holding? Most people will say to me, one. But I'm going to say to you that I'm holding 11. I'm holding the one that I see, and then each individual one that everybody else sees. So there's always multiple versions of what is physically in the environment. And are you getting it? So if you're getting that, put in there, I get it, Dede, I get it. It's really important so that because I can never take anything out of your bubble and you can never take anything out of mine. But when I go to hand you the water bottle and you grab it, you activate it, and physically instant manifestation, it becomes instant in your reality. Another example I'll give of what instant manifestation is, let's say you decide, so multiple, exactly. All reality is multiple perspectives based on the assumption that you're expecting. So if you live in a conspire for you universe, then you will get conspire for you universe results. If you live in a conspire against you universe, the same thing is happening. That's why if there's four people on a corner and they see a car accident, there's four different perspectives of what happened and why it happened. So powerful. So another example, everything is instant manifestation, even if it looks like it's already there for you, because it's already here, already done all the time. So let's say I decide I'm going to go to the store and I want to get some chicken thighs. And so if I realize that my reality is rendering, right? So as I leave my house, the supermarket is maybe a mile away. but I can't see it from my house. But what I do see is as I'm moving my car through reality, reality is rendering. Whatever I need to see next is constantly forming. It doesn't exist until I put my consciousness onto it. Though I have a memory of what it looks like, the mind creates that which is like, not that which is exact. But let's say I get to the supermarket and inside nobody is moving around and nobody exists until I see them. It's instant manifestation. And I get what I would expect in a supermarket. So when I walk over and I'm getting closer to the chicken display, and I just see a display, I don't see the chicken yet. It hasn't existed yet in my reality. And when I get over to the chicken thighs in the package, they just came into the reality. They did not exist before I went over to interact with them. Those pieces of chicken were never on an animal on a farm. That's a story. So when you order a package from Amazon and it shows up on your step, it was never in a truck. It was never brought there by a person, unless you see the truck pull up and the person come out. But in your reality, it's instant manifestation when you see it on the step. Do you get that? So you cut out all the other story and it's not needed anymore. And this is how you're going to begin to speed up manifestation. So when I'm looking, and as you guys know, the reason why we're doing this video, thank you to everyone part of this wonderful community. We went over 1,000 subscribers in less than 2 months. And it actually was a 3-month goal for me, but it happened one day shy of 2 months because my universe always over delivers. It delivers fast. It knows what I want and it brings it to me. And a lot of times I'll start off making goals that match, what's reasonable, but a little bit more than reasonable. And then once I know I can be totally unreasonable, I just go wild. So, the next goal is 5,000 very, very quickly. Because when I'm looking in and I see that there was 990 subscribers, that's a universe in and of itself. And then the reality where there's 995, it's not that 5 people added on. I'm just now looking in the 995 reality. And that's how we will start to segue into sacral chakra. But let's come back to repetition and affirmations, and especially I am affirmations. When you say, I'm happy, boom, instant manifestation, just like the chicken showed up. And I know that can be a little bit mind-blowing, or the box, but your mind didn't need for you to see it created and boxed and shipped and delivered. That's concepts that you believe that your mind will tell you that if that box shows up on your step, that's how it justifies it. So it keeps you safe. And how I know this is when I teach dream interpretation and lucid dreaming. When you go lucid in a dream, if you get too excited, oh, I'm finally am lucid, you'll get kicked right out. You'll get kicked right out of the reality. So your mind wants to keep you nice and safe. And again, root chakra. So that's why there's in repetition, and it takes longer because you're used to that way of manifestation, and you give the story and the repetition all the credit for the manifestation when it's you all the time. And as we move into sacral and solar plexus, time frames cut down. They cut down very quickly, but you have to feel comfortable with that. So if you want to say pink elephant and have a pink elephant show up, which is more like solar plexus chakra, but you have a mind that's all over the place, you won't be able to manifest that way until you become the operant power of the mind and you don't allow the thoughts to rule you. You are the consciousness that allows the thoughts. That's where you take your power back. So it's not that you can't do it, but it would be like, I think I gave the example before that in a company, the CEO would be the subconscious mind and the inventory taker would be a conscious mind. It would be like the inventory taker who knows how many pens and how many computers there are, goes to the CEO and says, I'm going to take over now. I'm going to run the whole company because I know how many pens we have. That would be ridiculous, not prepared, not in the mindset needed to be a CEO. So as you're creating, at the very least that through default, like I know if I go to the gym and I eat a certain way, that in 3 months, I always say, give me 3 months. All you need for really focused repetition at the root chakra level is 3 months to see a huge change. Because what happens is by the time you're getting into the second month, which we're seeing now with the Invincible CEO YouTube channel blowing up, you automatically start going into sacral chakra creation, which has to do with a transaction. And we'll get to that in a moment. So are there any questions so far on what we've talked about root chakra? Because you're not going to find this anywhere else. Root chakra is repetition over time and space. And it's the default. So if you really want to start really creating more from sacral chakra or solar plexus chakra, how you help yourself is you start doing the repetition at the root chakra level. Because the more comfortable you get with root chakra manifestation, and because over the 3-month period, you have a focused attention that like if you sign up for a personalized nutrition plan with me, where you are now, I will tell you where you will be if you follow it 90% of the time, 80% of the time. I don't go any lower than 75% of the time. And people say to me all the time, well, should I do Atkins? Should I do intermittent fasting? Should I do metabolic? It's whatever one that you would enjoy. Remember, whatever we're going to be doing and adding to our life, you're not doing it to beat yourself up. You're not doing it to frustrate or anger yourself. So what would be the most enjoyable version for you? And the important thing is over time and space, that's where you're focused. That's why we use an outline for 3 months. So as you're doing affirmations, let's say the technique here is affirmations. And whether you do them robotically, but I would say, what was the difference between the first deep breath that you took before I showed you how to do it, and how much more present were you doing those 3 in a row that we did at the beginning of this session? If you're doing robotic affirmations, then you're going to have to do a whole lot of them. But if you're doing affirmations and you get really, really present with them, because you have to ask yourself, if you're saying, I am a multimillionaire, I am a multimillionaire, are you still trying to convince yourself that you are? Because the version of you that's not, that needs to be convinced, never gets convinced. But the version of you that is doesn't have to repeat to him or herself that they are, because they know, right? So when you're doing affirmations of any kind, I am happy. So what I'll do is, because I have a whole deck of I am affirmations that I created, and I'll randomly pick a number between 1 and 90, and whatever one that is, and I just so happen to know that number 7 is infinity. I am infinity. So I'll say, I am infinity, and I'll feel how that activated. So when you were doing your deep breathing, did you have a feel in your body? When you did those 3 deep breaths, you should have felt some type of activation within you. And whenever you feel that, the energy is activated. So you might have got a tickle in your belly button, or you might have felt the deep expansion in your chest. And the more focused and aware you are during the 3 months of affirmations that you're doing, because you don't need the full 3 months, you really don't. But the more present you are, the more aware you are, because that's what consciousness is. It's what am I aware of right here, right now? And what I'm aware of, how does it support the story? So if I'm infinite, I'm happy, how can I use whatever's in front of me? Because that's what my mind thinks I need right now. That's what I have access to. And every morning when I wake up, I look around my room, and this is how I view my character. Each day a new character shows up, and my character has 24 hours to be the lead character in this drama or comedy or whatever you want to call it of my life. And from the moment that she wakes up till she goes to bed, she has to move the little character on the game board ahead towards the goal. And she can use all of what was left behind from all the other versions of me, right? Because they're sending memories, they're sending whatever. So when I wake up and there's a fan in the room, I didn't have to go purchase the fan. The fan is there for my benefit. I may be the one that purchased it in an old version of me, but she left it behind for me to play with. So this is just one big playground of tools and games and fun props to play with, to make my character in this play of my life, in this game of my life, so much more fun. And if I choose to throw something out or to get rid of it, I know that all my future versions of me don't need it anymore, because I'm always making the best decision I can. And when I'm in the now moment, I'm in first person. But if I'm looking at an older version of me, I'm now in third person looking at her. And of course, I have different understanding than she did. But I know that she's like me, that when she had her 24 hours, she was doing the best she could from where she was. And there's versions of me that haven't actualized yet that I also have access to. So going back to the root chakra, we have that repetition. And if I'm saying I am happy, then I'm already looking for the evidence in my outside world because I can feel it inside. And I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to have this bouncy ball. If you see me bouncing, I'm sitting on my bouncy ball. I'm happy to have this computer in front of me. I'm happy to have this beautiful house around me. Like so much evidence. But I could also sit here and say, I am angry. And I can be on this bouncy ball going, why is it running out of air? What happened? Why is it so low? And why is this computer acting this way? Like I can use the same template, the same things to support whatever I am affirmation that I want to embody in this moment. Does everyone get that? So at the root level, chakra level, it's about survival. It's about multiple repetitions over time and space. But here's the thing, it doesn't matter what level of chakra we're at, it doesn't matter what technique that you use, it's not the technique, it's you. You're just using the technique to keep the conscious mind in line with what's going on. So if I give you a nutrition plan and say, here's your week 1 food, and this is how many times you're going to eat, and this is your portions that you're going to, all you got to do is follow the chart and repeat, because eventually you no longer need the chart. You don't no longer need the scale to weigh out 4 ounces of this and 5 ounces of this, because over time and repetition, you'll be able to eye how much that is and just plop it right down. And that's how we start to progress out of root chakra. And we go to solar plexus. Now, I'm sorry, we go to sacral. We go to sacral chakra, which the root chakra is down at the bottom of the base of the spine, down at your backside, the bum, right down there. If I were to say to close your sphincter or do some kegels, you'll know exactly. And that's how you can kind of play around with your root chakra a little bit to activate and be aware that it's there. But when we talk about sacral now, and we're moving up from red to orange, it's orange world. Everything is orange in the sacral chakra world. And just think about if there was one big orange world and all different shades of orange, and people who lived in sacral chakra world would be shocked to know that there was red root chakra world, and red root chakra world would be surprised that there's orange world. Like they can't even fathom seeing orange for the first time and orange seeing red for the first time. And that's why when people have different opinions, whatever it is that they're expressing is the world that they're in. And it's absolutely right for this world. Just like you're hearing what I'm talking and sharing here, and you might be going, wow, this is the most amazing thing ever. Or you might be going, no, I'm not buying it. And both of you would be right. Absolutely right. This is where you get to decide, what do I want to add into my world that will add on to me? So as we move into sacral chakra, this is transactional. It's one and done. It's a one and done transaction. And as we said before in other videos, that the subconscious mind has 3 different ways it interacts with you. Repetition, boom, root chakra right there. Ceremony, that's your sacral chakra. And feel or sensation, right? What you're feeling. Did you feel the air go through your nose? That's sensation. Did you feel your chest expand when you held your breath? That's sensation. That feeling that you get when you say you're hungry. Well, that's not a hungry feeling. That's just a sensation that you put a story over that means I'm hungry. And you start to see now, I did a short, I think it was yesterday, that said, you've never eaten anything in your whole life. Eating is a concept. You can't eat anywhere. But and that's how you know you're in your 15% mental, if you're saying, oh, I'm eating. But what's really happening in the now moment is biting is happening. Chewing is happening. Swallowing is happening. The now moment is what's happening, and it doesn't need a story. So if you're saying I'm eating, you're telling a story, and while you're eating, you don't have to say you're eating, because it's very apparent that you're eating or chewing, biting, and swallowing. So when I talk to you and I say, did you eat? I'm not going to say to you, did you bite, chew, and swallow? That would be ridiculous. So you understand why we have the concepts. Well, that's very different than what's actually happening, the real happening. And if you stay in the now moment never needs a story. It's so apparent. So getting into the sacral, it's transactional. And in a transaction, think about any transaction that you do. There's a beginning, right? There's the actual transaction, and then there's the confirmation. So if you're ordering off at Amazon, you're deciding what is it that I want, right? You're picking out specifically, because you got to tell Amazon specifically what you want. You got to tell what kind, if it's color, size, the whole 9 yards. You got to get very specific. And then you pick it, you make a purchase, you give in your information, you hit the little button, and Amazon sends you back receipt saying confirmation. So sacral chakra is all about one and done. It's about being so present while you're doing it that you don't question after you've done it, did I do it right? Did I do it enough? I hear that a lot. People say, how do I know if I've done my imaginal act or my technique? How do I know it worked? How do I know if I need to do it over and over again? Well, you weren't very present. I put up a short about that today. Because when you think about when you do eat, right? When you do bite, chew, and swallow, and that was done, well, think about the last time you ate some food. Do you question after the fact whether you did it? You were so present while you were doing it, even if you were talking to someone else or looking at your phone, there's no doubt an hour later, 2 hours later, did I eat that? Did I really eat that? Because you were so present with it. So when you're doing your techniques, the more present you become, the more transactional it becomes, that you set up a system and a ceremony within yourself. And I talked about that in the live number 2, if you haven't watched that one yet. So I don't have to go all the way through it. But I'm not the real me. The real me is inside Dede, right? But I actually call her Mimi because she's the real me. She's me squared. And so I'm her eyes and her ears, and I'm taking in all the stuff that she can't see because she and her invisible team are inside. And it's just like when I go on Amazon and I'm looking through all the different options, I'm looking through all the things until I decide very specifically what it is that I want. Now, it can be very specific or I can keep it general, but if I keep it general, then I let Mimi decide what to send. And then I can kind of say, yeah, no, that's not it, right? If I'm not really sure. But the more specific you can get, the quicker the return time for you. So I'll look at something I want and I don't have to go purchase it. That could be part, I might be brought to purchase it, or it could be given to me as a gift, or just like the chicken is instant manifestation, or the box outside that you think you ordered, instant manifestation. You can now start ordering stuff in your mind. And if you convince your consciousness that you did the same thing, that if you actually went to your computer and did it, once you convince your consciousness, just like you're convinced when you place an order on Amazon, because they're all imaginal acts. We went through on Friday's video, passive imaginal acts and active imaginal acts. So everything's imagination. When I'm doing a passive imaginal act, it's with my eyes closed and I'm doing a little scene inside of me. But right now I'm doing an active imaginal act, giving this lecture here, this training. This is all an imaginal act. Because right now I'm talking to a screen and I see that there's numbers on the screen of how many people who are watching, but I don't know that. But I believe it. I'm in the assumption that there, and I know that even beyond what we talk about here tonight, it'll go out to all the other people, or you can come back over and over again and watch it. So I'm in a world of assumptions. I'm in a world of imaginal acts. And to me, this is just as real now through repetition than if I actually rented a room and you physically came, because I do that also. I do in-person classes. So this is just as real, but in the beginning, it was a little awkward because it wasn't real people here physically in front of me, but it's just the same now. And there's that belief within me, and it's very ceremonial. So if you go into an imaginal act and order something off of Amazon in your mind, and you make it just as real and believable to your consciousness as the actual doing on your computer, I promise you the box will show up. It's not that you've taken it away from someone else. It's not that you're stealing from the universe. All we're ever doing is moving to the universe of delivery. So if I go and place an order on the computer and I know that Amazon delivers in 2 days, I expect that box to show up. Sometimes it shows up on my steps. Somebody else in the house might bring it in and put it on the table. But wherever I see it the first time, it's instant manifestation. So I had a time where I did order a new iPad through the computer, and it told me that it was going to take 3 weeks before it arrived here because they were back ordered. Well, that was unacceptable to me. So what I did was I had a special training that I was doing, and I imagined I went in, which was within 2 days. I imagined that I would be doing the training on my new iPad within 2 days, and that box was on my step within 2 days. Because I accepted the first reality. Okay, that's a reality, but that's not the reality of delivery that I want to be in. So if I'm doing this, not only can I say what it is that I want, all I'm ever doing is convincing myself within my own consciousness that I've met the ceremony, that I've met the transaction to its fullest. Because as I'm envisioning it, if I do a passive imaginal act and I see myself ordering a new iMac computer, there's a version of me in some reality that's really doing it. And if it's going to show up within a couple days, all I have to do is be the consciousness in that reality versus the consciousness that never ordered it. Because I will assume the identity of the version of me that already had the money, that already ordered it. And I can then put that reality over top of mine. Are you guys getting this? This is no different than what happens when a baby's conceived, right? It's one and done. It's one transaction. The only thing is that we don't necessarily know which time it takes. So there might be a little bit of repetition, right? That's how we always go back to the default. If multiple tries will end up you're getting pregnant, especially with the intention of getting pregnant, but it only takes that one time. And once you're pregnant, you're pregnant. So when you do an imaginal act within yourself and you order something, I call it my Mimazon. Instead of Amazon, if I'm doing it internally, it's my Mimazon. And I see myself doing the actual ordering on the computer that I would if I were actually doing the active imaginal act off of Amazon. And then I see it showing up. And it can show up in many different ways. I've had so many people give me things. They had an extra of something. They don't know why this was delivered to them. I've had boxes show up on my step. This really works. But what is really important and powerful to know is that when I do it internally, it's the same thing as if I did it on the computer. Does anybody have any questions at all? Please put please put comments in the comment section, but I can see the live chat on my computer right now. I can't see the comments. And as you go back and you listen to this over and over. So the sacral chakra is all about transaction. Now, in getting pregnant, I know, and I've done this, I've had 5 kids, that there's a certain time frame that's required for all the things to happen so that I have a healthy baby. So I know roughly 9 months later, there's going to be this bundle of joy. And I really don't want it sooner than that because that's what in this reality it takes. But I'll show you how at sacral chakra, you can come in and only be 3 months because you can decide to get pregnant, but not level up to that reality until you're 6 months in. And you could go to sleep totally not pregnant and wake up 6 months pregnant the next day. Like that's what's powerful. So when we take a deep breath, do we have to fill our stomach? No. You're going to focus on the heart chakra, chest. It's pushing in the stomach that pushes the rest of the air out because it goes to show you that if you think that you're done breathing out, there's actually more air in there. So we really want to get into the physicalness of it because and this is something as a personal trainer, I teach people that what you think you're capable of, and there's always more. And if you find a way to figure out that little bit of more in that, you'll see how limiting, even with your breath, that you've been. I hope that answered your question. So we have the repetition. So at the very least, if I'm trying to get pregnant and I know it's one and done, but I'm not sure, lucky me, we get to try over and over and over again. But once you know, you know. And this is really starting to train you to get to solar plexus creation because I think that's what everyone wants. They want that the second I say it, right? My will be done. So the sacral chakra, if the first root chakra was I am, and the second chakra is I create, right? Sacral chakra is I create. It's all about creativity. It's about the bringing of the male and female energy together and allowing the time and space, because when it's done, it's done. So the 1,000 subscribers on this channel was done. And originally I was just doubling each month. So when I first started, I had 135 subscribers because my channel was just for my clients. And the goal was to double each month. So by January 4th, it was to be 270, and I had 270 plus one because I always get more than what I asked for. And then March 4th would have been 1080. So you can see when doing this 3-month process, how much more ahead of schedule you can be. But the one thing that I always do is go back to the repetition, and whatever numbers I'm looking at on the screen are just numbers on the screen. I'm the one giving story to them, because I could go tonight from 1,000 to 5,000 tomorrow and not even know how that would be. It's none of my business. But because it's a possibility and it's activated, it could happen at any time. But one thing that I do know, one way or the other, I'll get there. And the less that I'm battling within myself, why isn't it happening? Why is, all those questions. If I'm asking why isn't it happening, then I haven't done the imaginal act. I haven't done the ceremony. I haven't given myself that email confirmation back. And whenever I give Mimi my request, I see myself handing her my request. I see her taking it from me, looking at it. I see her saying, yes, it's done. And I feel that activation in my belly button. And once she tells me it's done, I know she knows that if I want it in a month, she'll probably give it to me in a week. And that's where it takes all the pressure off this outside version of me, because I don't have access to all the things that's my subconscious mind that she does, my higher self than she does. And I got my back. This outer me, I got my back. Why wouldn't my inner me have my back too? Right? Because I'm always doing the best I can from where I am, not only for myself, but for everyone else. And that's why I'm always going to give you everything I got. And I don't have anything hidden. Yes, I do have do-it-yourself digital courses. I have coaching. I have all that wonderful stuff, because I know that I am your point of focus as we work together. But I also know that you can figure this out. It's just, how long do you want to take from point A to point B? And is it enjoyable? That's the most important thing. Okay. So what then sacral chakra is doing is getting you ready for solar plexus chakra. And that's when we talk about, I want it, I asked for it, and it's done, right? And one of my favorite techniques here is because I said so. As a mom, I can't tell you how many times I use that with the kids, because if I'm the subconscious mind as the mom, and they're all my they're all my multiple personalities pushed out, but they're all my little versions of me in physical form, literally pushed out. And when I would say to them, go to bed, and of course we'd go through the process, and I'd tuck them into bed and to sleep, and I'd come down and they'd follow me back down. Or if I said it's bedtime, they're like, why? I don't want to go to bed. Because I said so, because I have the bigger vision. I understand why you need your rest. You're not quite there yet. So that's how I see Mimi for me, my inner me, that she's like the mom, that she understands why. And I'm sitting here going, why isn't it happening? Why is it taking so long? She's like, I got you. You don't understand yet. That's okay. And this is going to happen. It's already happened. It's already done. But every time you ask, why isn't it? You're putting yourself in the reality where it hasn't. That's a really sure sign. So with this, I forgot to mention, with the sacral chakra, your type of techniques here is that transaction. It's an active imaginal act, or it's a passive imaginal act. And if you go into Friday's video, which I forget what the date on Friday was, is that the first, I forget the title of it, but I'll put them all in the description box here. I really go deep into active and passive imaginal acts. So the passive imaginal act is what Neville Goddard has stated akin to sleep, where you're closing your eyes and you're just doing a 20 to 30-second little video or audio that you're hearing within yourself. An active imaginal act would be, actually, like I said, this is an active imaginal act right now as part of my wish fulfilled of expanding my YouTube channel to share this information to help people manifest with ease, but also to grow my business. Another active imaginal act would be, if you want to bring a significant person into your life, is right now being so present and going and buying your first anniversary card and doing all the fun things that you would do if it was actually your anniversary tomorrow. So I'll give you a quick, I was working with my sister-in-law way back when, and she really wanted to find her husband, right? She was tired of all the dating. So I said to her, go buy your 1-year anniversary card And they made that suggestion for her. And she said one day she was walking down the street and she walked by a bridal shop and she said, forget the anniversary card. I'm going to go buy my wedding dress. And she went and bought her dress. And here's how I love how everything is you pushed out and everything is part of that. So she lived in an apartment and she had a Jack Russell Terrier, and he was crying to go out, and she's like, I took him out like twice already, but I thought, well, maybe his belly's upset. I'll take him out. And she's like, you know what? It was such a nice day that there was a park down the street. So she decided to take him to the park. Now, mind you, she had let him out already twice. She was aggravated that she had to go and take him out a third time. And to calm herself down, she went to walk to the park. So she's walking the dog to the park. And at the park, there was a group of guys playing Frisbee football. And as she's walking by, it's just like in a rom-com movie, she got whacked in the head with the Frisbee. And of course, as you would probably guess, the guy who came over was her future husband, and they're married with like 4 kids now. So when I say to you that whatever it is that you're asking for and you've already committed, and the more all in you go with your commitment, the quicker things happen. So she's like, forget about the actual card. I'm going to go all in. Okay. So what I'm going to do with the all inness of this, I do want to get to solar plexus, but I will do a second video with how the higher chakras, or how your subconscious mind, your inner me, your higher self responds back to you. And that we'll do on Wednesday night, this upcoming Wednesday at 8 p.m., because otherwise we're going to be in here for another hour. And I appreciate you all staying here and being here, but I really want to keep these videos in a nice size and time frame. Okay, so solar plexus, root chakra is I am, and it's all about survival and existence. Sacral chakra is all about I create, and it's about pleasure. It's about enjoyment. It's about adding things to you that bring you joy, that expand who you are, that bring you experiences. So there's no more survival mode at sacral chakra, right? It's all about bringing life. And literally that's why we have, the womb and the baby as representations of that. Okay. So now going from there, we're moving up to the solar plexus, is right at the rib cage. And that's my will be done. I will into existence, because I'm such a powerful creator. I know exactly what I want. And the moment that I declare it, the moment that I command it, I'm all in with conviction. So we went from repetition, trying to figure things out. And now we have a ceremony and a transaction. And now we're getting to command your universe. And we all want to just go right there right now. But just imagine when you're in solar plexus, you're in solar plexus. So that mind, your mind, has to be calm. It has to be quiet. It has to be focused. So focused that, just imagine, giving an example of solar plexus creation. Everything that you thought of in the next hour, just boom, 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 manifesting, manifesting. How much stuff would you have around you? Which means you would never, ever be able to have a negative thought about a person, right? Like drop dead. Boom, they would immediately. That's solar plexus. My will be done. But then you can revive them right back up. But that would be like, how many times will we have to be reviving everybody? So you have to be so in control, so connected to your power as a creator. But I always say at the solar plexus, how will you God today? Because it is that powerful. And that's why when we're in the repetition and we're in the transactional, there's a little bit of time involved, because there's always revising and fine tuning that can be brought into that. But solar plexus is that, and you are manifesting solar plexus. You don't realize it, meaning that you wake up every day the same gender that you are, right? I don't have to worry tomorrow about waking up as a male, though I could, but think about the level of focus and attention to go into a version of me that is male. And that is what I'll say that, and we'll do another time, the dream state, that you can start commanding this. And this is where it's a great playground. We have some alarms going off. I don't know if you can hear that. Somebody's cooking upstairs. But when you want to see how to command your reality, then you can command what dream that you go into at nighttime. And if you really want to start saying, okay, I want to be 10 years old again, riding my horse from when I was a kid. It helps that if there is an actual connection to it, that you can train yourself to go into that dream lucid, instead of waking up with inside the dream. There's different induction techniques. So when people are getting to the solar plexus level of creation, I highly recommend that they start using the dreamscape, the dream time for that, because when you can start commanding your dream world and you're getting what it is that you want to dream of that night. So last night I had a dream, and I woke up probably every 2 hours to go to the bathroom because I drink a lot of water. And that's another thing we'll talk about, oxygenation and hydration for manifestation, in another video. But I can command myself to go back right into the dream that I came out of every single time. I can pick it up. I can start it fresh. It's almost like jumping into a video or a TV episode. Like when you start to get to solar plexus level, your nighttime dreamscape is where you play with that. And you'll start to see yourself be able to do that, because you don't want to necessarily be playing with that level of creation out here without being able to control your emotions, your reactions, right? So a lot of manifestation is don't react, right? You got to stay stone cold. You got to be ground zero. That's what heart chakra is. There's no judgment. Everything's allowed to be, everything's allowed to happen as it is. I hope all of this is making great sense for you guys here. So if you're going to start with affirmations at the root chakra level, pick one affirmation for a week and pick something like I am happy. And you know what I'm going to have you guys do? I want you to send me a number between 1 and 90. I have an affirmation deck, and I will send you the card, and you can see what you consciously, with your subconscious, which number that you pick. And if you're in the Invincible CEO circle, you can drop that there, or you can drop it on Messenger or Facebook with me. And if you're not, then you can also just drop it in the comment section here. Just put the number and let me know where I can send you the card. Take that card for a whole week of repetition and look for evidence of that card everywhere. Every person, every conversation, every song, every TV show. When you start to bring your focus on that thing, you will see it everywhere, in everything, all the time. I see you, Nina. I got you, 77. And Bridget, I know that 6 that you put up there earlier was for a different question. So if you want to put it, if you're still here, if you want to put a different number in there. And then we'll take that card and we'll make it transactional. And we'll create a transaction. And then slowly, then when we get to the solar plexus, we'll start bringing that card into your dream, because we are flooding your consciousness, not only the conscious consciousness, but the subconsciousness, which is on 24/7. It never rests. It's outside of time, conscious time and space. So for example, if you woke up today at 6:34, in your reality, there was never a 6:33, because you weren't conscious of it. It didn't exist. Now, there could be somebody else in the room that says, yeah, well, they were up at 6:30 and 6:33 existed for them, and they'd be absolutely correct. And that's when you start to realize that your world doesn't start until you're consciously aware inside it. And when you're dreaming, when you're unconscious to this world, you're still conscious. And that's why you're able to slip slowly into that subconscious world, which then becomes a conscious world. And when you begin to understand, like my dream last night, all the people that I created was instant manifestation. That whole dreamscape, all the conversations, all the storylines were instantly created. When you realize that you're doing that here, but up until a certain point, it was done by default. But now you're consciously doing it. Your mind has set up a system so that you don't overwhelm yourself. You don't overwhelm yourself, and you're not constantly revising every 3 seconds of what you just did. So solar plexus is, and we're getting close to the heart. So when you're at that level, you're at a place called thought, no thought. You're not consciously thinking. At the creator level, so we said the first level is the character. And in the Invincible CEO, my teaching, there's the character, there's the hybrid, and there's the creator. So the character was at the root level chakra, which we would call the normal human being, normal way of going through life. The sacral is the hybrid, right? You know now that you're part human and part divine, but you can also go into total creator mode, and there is no thought. as a high level creator. And when you get to those states of no thought, you think that you can't exist without thought. It is so blissful. It is so amazing. But there's not a lot of interaction at that state. But there's powerful, powerful, powerful awareness. And this is the way that I want to show that, hey, being at that human level, root chakra survival mode is wonderful. You can get a lot of wonderful things over time and repetition with it. And being at that sacral and getting transactional, oh, it gets so much more fun. But when you get to that my will be done, that solar plexus, that is such a ground zero, just you in your bubble, because everything and everyone is your dream characters. There's not a whole lot of interaction other than pure awareness of what's going on and pure thought and choice and no wavering. When you make a choice at solar plexus level, there's no doubt you can't make the choice at solar plexus level until you can demonstrate that within yourself. And that takes a little bit more type of explanation that we have time. And that's something that I'd like to do when we're more interacting. So there's going to be plenty of opportunities to interact on Zoom where we actually can have real live question and answer. But for now, this will have to suffice. Okay. And at that level, the technique, it's not even words. You are just emanating what it is because it's at the identity level. You are identifying yourself as the creator, and you are so aware of the choice that words aren't needed. Language, it's sort of the state that you were in when you were a baby, a powerful creator, but now you're totally aware of the environment that you're in, and that's how powerful it is. And with that, I'm going to kind of close off tonight's talk. We will go deeper into heart chakra with the upper chakras, because it's not anything for you, the character, to do. It's how your inner me now starts to interact with you using signs and sensations and repetition of stuff from a whole different perspective. We looked at it from the human outer me perspective. And now when we do those upper chakras on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock live here, we'll be doing it from how the inner me views all this and how they're slowly moving you around this board of this physical 3D reality. I always imagine, if I'm thinking of Super Mario Brothers, my physical me is the Mario on the TV, right? And my higher self is sitting on the couch with the controller, moving me around because it has the bigger vision of when I have to jump and when I have to, beat up a character or whatever it is that goes on those. So to kind of give you that analogy of the perspective of the inner me. But when we talk about those higher chakras on Wednesday night, there's going to be such a peacefulness within you. So to wrap up tonight, the breathing technique that we did early on, make sure that you do it in the morning and you do it at night, but anytime during the day to become more consciously aware. And even though we haven't talked in person yet, it's like the energy already knows what you've been asking for. And the only reason why you haven't seen it manifest yet is because you're still in thought and story and you're a house divided within yourself. Because you can't be solar plexus creation and divide it within yourself. You just know. And it's a lot of those moments where, you hear stories of somebody gets trapped under a car and, a person goes and lifts the car up with one hand and pulls them out with the other. That's solar plexus level stuff. It's conscious mind bypass. And I can take you in the gym as a trainer and put you in solar plexus mode. And let's say if you were deadlifting, you could lift 150 pounds deadlift. I can have you lifting 100 pounds heavier within 30 seconds, teaching you how to do that subconscious mind bump and conscious mind bypass, because that's what solar plexus is. We're getting so close to the heart chakra that thought is not needed. And if you're thinking, you're not in solar plexus, because it's all about the will. Okay. Thank you guys so much for being here. Please check the description box. I do have a free course if you haven't signed up for it. It's, since we're talking about law of assumption and living in a world of assumption, it's how to create powerful assumptions to live through, live by and live in, and to look for the evidence of that everywhere. If you haven't joined us on the Invincible CEO Circle Facebook private group, I have that activated right now, but I'm starting to create a whole private space off of social media for our wonderful creators and Invincible manifestors. And at any time, if you have any questions, you can put them in the comment section. You can reach out to me on Facebook Messenger, Or if you'd like to explore, I have other digital courses. I have one-off coaching sessions, and I have 3-month programs based on what your needs, and also 1-day, half-day VIP sessions. Thank you so much. Thank you all for helping this wonderful channel get over 1,000. There's great manifestation that's going to be happening more and more on the channel as we expand and grow. Thank you so much for sharing of yourself, sharing of your time. I appreciate you so deeply. And it truly is my goal for you to manifest with ease, to truly win big. What is it that you want? Start sharing it here with us so that we can co-create together. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you really enjoyed this new take on chakras. And remember those promises that you made. And I will see you next time. See you Wednesday live, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.